It seems like patch 2.1 has been out forever at this point, but with patch 2.2 right on the horizon, there have been some massive changes announced. What's going on, Summoners? My name is Nathan Ing, and today we'll be going over and analyzing patch 2.2's preview shown by Riot. But before we begin, our question of the day is, which champion do you think would make the best parent on the Wild Rift? I probably have to say Draven, because, well, he seems like a really fun dad, and you could ask him any questions. I would also have amazing genes. Because of his passive, he could buy me great genes. Can't kick very high, but those are sweats. Doesn't matter, I'm not sorry. Please answer in the comments down below, and let's just hop right into it. The release of the Americas is finally here. Alongside this release, the special limited time event called Wild Welcome will be dropping at the same time to help players in the Americas catch up with the rest of the world. Bonus XP, loot, and blue essence will be provided through the event. In addition, time investment on League of Legends PC will provide various rewards. We know that many players in the Americas have been waiting a long time for the release, and though they may be behind the rest of the world, this event should help compensate for their lost time. It's clear that Riot wants to see the America release succeed, given the amount of time they have spent preparing their region and the events that they have planned. For those of you who are playing from this region of the world, please give Wild Rift a chance. This game may not be perfect, and though Riot took far longer than intended to get the game out there, especially for the America servers, the game has progressed so far and so fast. We hope that you guys enjoy the game and participate in the global Wild Rift community. Speaking of communities, be sure to join our Wild Rift Discord. In addition, the game will very soon have Arabic support. It is still not fully developed, so let Riot know if there are portions in need of further development. New champions. This section is huge news, and so many new champion releases were teased. The announced champions were Galio, Rammus, Kha'Zix, Rengar, and Renekton. These are all melee, non-humanoid champions, and who, when finally released, will drastically change the climate of the game. Let's begin by discussing Galio. As a tank AP hybrid, Galio offers massive utility through his area of effect taunts and knockups. We expect that he will be played mid, thanks to his wave clear and high base damage in the 1v1 trades. His release would be the third teleporting global ultimate in the game. By casting his ultimate on an ally, Galio flies up and slams onto his ally, creating a massive area of effect knockup. This skill provides emergency air support for his allies, alongside vastly interrupting the enemy's team plays. And with great engage potential, he is a pick that is not afraid to run into the bulk of the enemy team, dealing massive damage while providing frontline cover with his big and tanky body. Galio-like mid laners do not exist in Wild Rift yet, with the majority of champions for the mid lane being assassins or casters. When he releases, there will finally be a champion capable of countering these squishy damage-reliant mid lane carries and switch up the meta. Rammus spells doom for the AD carries. Almost always picked as a tank jungler, his playstyle relies heavily on his fast movement speed, zooming around the map as a ball to get where he needs to go. With 3 massive crowd control abilities in his kit from a knockup, a slow, and a taunt, Rammus will be a menace for all squishy vulnerable carries. His kit scales on building armor and magic resist, making him truly a scary tank for ADCs who do not penetrate his defenses. There aren't many great tank picks on the Wild Rift at the moment, most successful junglers being AD Bruisers and Evelynn. Hopefully with the release of Rammus, there will be more reliable space for tanks to see the jungle play on Wild Rift. On the other hand, Kha'Zix and Rengar are the 2 assassin jungle picks, and according to the lore, are intense rivals. Riot will be releasing an event around this premise in the near future. Most assassins are played in the solo lanes, so these new champions should provide some pick variety in the jungle. But once again, these champions spells doom for ADCs. The job of these assassins is to one-shot the enemy backline, which will more likely than not be the marksman. Rengar has a unique ability to jump out of every brush for auto attacks, making his bush camping tactics very scary and effective. He has some small crowd control through his bullet strike and an invisibility ultimate that allows him to jump out from anywhere in the map regardless of terrain. Every ability grants Rengar 1 ferocity, which is his replacement for the mana bar. At 4 stacks, his next ability is empowered. Understanding how to manage this bar while maximizing damage is key to fully utilizing the Rengar pick. Kha'Zix is also an assassin that utilizes jumps and an invisibility ultimate to one-shot the enemy squishies. Kha'Zix's jump range differs in range in that once he upgrades his jump enough times, it fully resets off kills, similar to Tristana's rocket jumps. In addition, the jump doesn't require a bush, and you can go further distances dealing area effect damage rather than on single target autos. Kha'Zix has the ability to evolve his skills, similar to Kai'Sa, which impacts the way that he plays. Understanding when each skill evolution is best allows his playstyle to vary according to different situations. Since these 2 picks are not bruiser jungle champions, they are very much welcome picks in the Wild Rift, allowing for much more variety in jungle play. Next up, we have the Baron laner Renekton. Speaking of the Baron lane, if you're looking to improve there, go ahead and check out our Baron lane guide. Anyway, this champion is a lane bully. His kit is very strong in the early game and offers dashes and a point-and-click stun. Renekton relies heavily on snowballing a lead to become an unstoppable 1v1 force that can solo push a lane. Unlike many Baron laners who rely on area effect skills, Renekton is more of a single target champion, playing to burst down squishies when in a teamfight. Once again, this spells out trouble for ADCs. Man, it really does suck being an ADC next patch. Moving on to some game changes, starting off with the itemization updates. One of the key changes will be to Sheen, which will no longer have Sapphire Crystal be a prereq. This means that this item won't provide mana, and opening up the item as an option for non-mana users. In addition, Sapphire Crystal will only be built into Tear of Goddess. Sapphire Crystal will provide mana charges as well, stacking up to 250 bonus mana after each 5 mana usage. The change increases the viability of Tear Rush, allowing for players to take advantage of the extra mana pool early on while not having to rely on the timing to stack the Tear of Goddess. This allows for better and more consistent scaling in line with the pacing of Wild Rift. Thornmail is being updated to provide grievous wounds when immobilizing a target rather than just waiting for the target to attack you. This increases the utility of the bleed damage from the item, making it an aggressive item choice rather than simply a defensive passive upgrade. Winter's approach will soon provide ability haste rather than just armor, making it the go-to item for spamming crowd control. More details will be released later on. Force of Nature will replace Adaptive Helm as the best magic resist item of choice for tanks. The item, at least in the League of Legends PC, stacks magic resist and movement speed the more that you receive magic damage, allowing for offensive and defensive plays at the same time. Riot has not announced if the item will be the exact from the PC, but we can safely assume that the base usage should be similar. Adaptive Helm has been tricky to utilize properly, with a less than optimal passive that provides single ability focused defense. In essence, it only guarded against continuous ability spams of the same ability. Force of Nature should be more intuitive as a magic resist option, providing overall magic resistance rather than the somewhat screwy single ability resistance that the Adaptive Helm provided. Frozen Heart is being introduced to Wild Rift. In League PC, the item passively slows the attack speed around the enemy champion, making it very difficult against marksmen. The base stats grants armor and ability haste. We suspect it'll be essentially the same on Wild Rift, allowing for yet another tank option for players to build. Sunfire Cape is also getting a revamp, following League's PC version of the item a little bit more closely. But unlike that iteration, this will not be a mythic item, as the entire itemization overhaul will not come to Wild Rift anytime in the near future. The item will provide ability haste and health only. Riot stated that although they like the changes the Sunfire Cape has brought to League PC, they don't want the item to be required for every tank on Wild Rift. With these tank item changes, hopefully playing tank on Wild Rift will feel more rewarding. As of now, tanks and their itemizations are a little bit lackluster, with damage items and champions far outshining their tank counterparts. Riot stated that they'll be keeping a close eye on the item upon their release, making adjustments as needed. They are very exciting changes for the state of the meta. If you want to learn more about the current items, check out our item guide video. Anyway, in order to help the summoner spell Ghost on Wild Rift, developers are implementing a reset skill on the summoner spell. Upon a takedown Ghost, its active movement speed buff will increase in length, allowing for players to mimic Jinx's passive, get excited on any champion that they want. Well, I mean, don't like literally get excited on champions. You know what I mean. That's kind of weird. They're also decreasing the lag of windup on auto attacks when stacking attack speed on marksmen, in order to decrease the insane amount of safety and kiting that they have right now. Quality of life changes further include developing the ping system, adding in enemy is missing and enemy has vision here, allowing for more streamlined communication. Neutral objective spawn times on the minimap have been given more clarity, and you can now optionally hide player names in game. Next up, something that we've all been waiting for. Drumroll please, positional preferences. Woo! Yes, Riot will run a short test for the positional preferences feature, which allows players to choose which role they prefer. This system will be an entirely new and separate game mode, and therefore not affecting ranked games or normal games. Intended purely as a test for their system for future updates, it will unfortunately only be up for a couple of days for regions outside of the Americas. Sorry Americas, your server is too new to be tested on. Although it is a little bit disheartening that positional cues will only be a quick test, it's great to see Riot is taking active efforts and progressing in dealing with this issue. Stargazer skin line premieres on Wild Rift. These Wild Rift exclusive skins look amazing, with the divine aesthetic for Camille, Twisted Fate, and Soraka. An in-game event will accompany the release, so be on the lookout. God King Darius is entering the Wild Rift, making Darius look even more terrifying. Blood Moon Cannon is also sneaking onto the Rift, and the adorable Corgi Corki is also going to be able to go for a walk on Wild Rift. And Draven, I guess. We're also going to be getting Scorched Earth Renekton. Wild Rift announces their Wild Pass, which is essentially Wild Rift Premium. By paying a fee, players can level up faster, rewarding them with access to skins, currency, icons, emotes, baubles, and other goodies on the way. Reach level 50 on the Wild Pass and earn an exclusive skin, Hexplorer Jax. This pass will be available starting on Season 2, which starts in April. Starting patch 2.2, ARAM will be temporarily making its way onto the Wild's Rift. This game mode forces all players down a single lane, creating an all-out brawl from the start of the game. But the caveat is that players are assigned to a random champion during champion select. If players have rerolls saved, they can opt out for a new random champion instead. ARAM will feature a new summer spell, Mark and Dash. Throw out a ranged snowball to mark an enemy, and click the ability again to dash towards the marked target. The games are much faster paced due to the lack of laning phase, and personally, sometimes I just want to play a quick fiesta of a game before heading back onto my daily routines, making ARAM the perfect game mode for those looking for some fast-paced action. Since it'll be the very first iteration of ARAM on Wild Rift, be sure to provide feedback so that Riot can balance the game faster. That concludes today's news update as usual. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like the video and answer the question in the comments down below, and sub to the channel to help us out even more. Until next time, as usual, stay safe, stay healthy, and have a wonderful day. Peace.